Welcome to Cash Parish Education. My name is Cash Parish. I help startup appreneurs build the company behind the app and the startup. You understand what I'm saying? So if you never heard of me, I've been in business and I be behind the scenes, but I've been in business over 21 plus years, helping entrepreneurs, building my own companies, building business. I've been through the successes, the failures, the droughts, the no money, the slow, the no traction, the failure, whatever you want to talk about, hiring and firing and growing and building over $2 million in sales and things of that nature. So if you want to know why you should listen to me, because I have the experience and I have the knowledge that can help you propel your startup. And I help entrepreneurs just build what they need to build so that way they could be progressive, innovative, and attractive to investors. So let's dive right into it. To start a startup, you need to define a few things. Most entrepreneurs start in the business or start a business and not understanding who they actually are. You hear me talk about this all the time. I call it introspection. But you got to know who you are before you can attempt to operate a business successfully. A lot of times entrepreneurs try to build things or go about it in a approach that is not natural, that is not organic to the way that they are. Now, what somebody say, well, what do we talk about? Let's dive into the first thing I want us to talk about. Do you believe in change or do you believe in opportunity? Somebody that believes in change wants to see the people of the industry do better, wants to see the customer have something that is better, faster, greater, cheaper. They believe in creating a product or an application or a startup company that can revolutionize the industry space to make it a better space, a better place to do business, a better way to do business, a better product for the consumer. They want to create a company. Now, again, we're talking about the company, not the product. They want to create something as a company. So somebody said, well, what's the difference in a company and a product? Well, the company encompasses the product. The product is inside of the company. You know what I'm saying? But if you're focusing on a product alone, how will you sell the product without the company? So you need the company to be built correctly so that the product that's inside the company can move correctly. Somebody may be asking themselves right now, well, what is the company? The company is the operations, the processes, the procedures, the systems, the people, the whole organization as a whole with the product. So I'm saying that to say, do you believe in change or do you believe in opportunity? A person who believes in change is focused on building a better business and a better product. A person that is focused on opportunity is more so focused on if there is a uncontested space in the market or if there's a weakly contested space in the market, something that they believe this market is so big and vast, there's lots of money that could be made and I'm going to seize this opportunity. That individual typically does not have a care about the people in the process, in the products, in the market. They really care about the money and the opportunity. Now, there is a space in startup heaven, startup world for everybody to dive in and get in where you fit in. But it is imperative that you understand, are you there because you want to make money or are you there because you want to see a difference in a change? If you come from an industry that is different from this industry, so let's say, for instance, you may have came from the food and beverage industry, but you see an opportunity in weight loss, so you want to create a weight loss app and dive in and make a lot of money. Those people typically don't understand the industry yet. They haven't done a lot of research. They just see that there's an opportunity there and they want to create a business to make some money. Especially with the allure of startups, reading what Zuckerberg did or what Snapchat did or something like that, I could become a billionaire. So there's a lot of people that is pursuing businesses based off the allure of startup riches. Now, one thing I want to tell you about that is fine. You can set your goals big to say, I want to be a billionaire, but you got to be conscious that 9 out of 10 businesses will fail in the first 5 years. 9 out of 10. There's no getting around it. The statistics don't lie. If you analyze the businesses, sometimes we read so many success stories because nobody prints stories of failure. Nobody wants to write a whole book of who failed, who failed, who failed. People want to know what worked and how big they did it. But the failure is the way that it began to work, because science is what goes up must come down. So after you fail at throwing something in the air several times and hoping that it stays in the air, you learn that that does not work. So success is, let's put some helium in the balloon and it'll float and it'll rise. Let's put some propellers on it and it'll levitate, it'll hover, and we can make it float, fly, or whatever. We learn from our process of elimination. We learn from failure. We learn from trial and error. So again, opportunity or opportunist versus somebody who's there for change is different. Now somebody may say, well, I don't totally agree with that, but we're going to just talk about different characters of an entrepreneur in a startup. Everybody's not the same, but you got to know who you are. Now, my recommendation is, if you are truly about money, seize a market that seems like the battle could be, I say seems like, appears to you that the battle can be easier to win, and it's not contested, and it's a large enough market. So even if you don't seize 50% of the market, that 10% share of the market, you still can make you $1 billion if that's what your goal is. But you have to create a company as the founder of the company that you believe in, something that you believe you can actually accomplish. It makes no sense for us to create something that we don't believe we can actually achieve it ourselves. We cannot get scared and fail and quit because we got paralyzed by the fear that we can't do it. So we have to make sure that if that's something that we're going for, we believe it wholeheartedly, whether it's change or opportunity. But we also got to think about what it is that we're truly trying to accomplish. You want to make a difference or you want to make money. So make money or make a difference. That's going to dictate who's going to help you and I. Because when you have a vision and you take that vision and you write that vision or you explain that vision to somebody, people usually want to follow in something that they believe in. You're not going to be able to too much get people to help you long term in the beginning stages of a startup if they don't believe in the concept or the vision or the dream or the execution of the entrepreneur. When you are hiring people, you have to kind of, and this is not in every case, so this is a case by case. There's different motives and different reasons that people work for startups or work with other people at the beginning stages of a company. But I'm trying to get you to see that if people believe that you're only about money and you're not about change, and they are about change, they won't follow you. If people believe that you're about change and you're trying to save the world or you're trying to do something different or you're trying to do something better and all they want is a check and all they want is money, they won't follow you. So you have to build the type of company and put the type of people around you that will support the direction and the strategy and the vision that you have as the founder or the foundation builder or as the leader. So that's also going to help you dictate who's going to help you build it as well as who's going to invest in it. There's certain investors that says that's dear to my heart. Rid in the world of cancer, I'm going to put up some money into that and see how far they can go. There's some other people that say, no, I'm with making a profit and I want to have a company that's going to be 10x, 100x, 1000x of whatever I invest into that company. So you have to pick your investors as well as your team members to align with the way that you're trying to approach doing business. If you're trying to approach doing business where we want to make $1 billion and rape the game for as much money as we can, you're going to have people that believe in that. Let's make as much money as we can. Let's hustle hard. Let's get it. And if you want to say, well, we're going to build something that's going to make a difference, impact the world, change the community, revolutionize technology or things like that, then you got to bring those people who said, that's what I want to do. That's what I'm here for. Nah, either way it go, you can make money with both. The driving factor will determine who helps, who builds, who invests, how they do it, and how successful you will become because you understand yourself and you understand the company. Now, this is one that is very dear to me because I talk about it all the time. You got to know what type of entrepreneur you are, and this is one level of it. I always tell people there's going to be like 3 types of people in a company. There's going to be the builder, there's going to be the grower, and there's going to be the sustainer. Now, you may come up with a variety of different names or different approaches, different types of entrepreneurs, and you may have your own titles, but I'm telling you, in my philosophy, there's a builder, there's a grower, and there's a sustainer. Now, the builder is the, to me, in a beginning stages of a startup, that is the key ingredient. Because when you take on the responsibility of owning your own startup business, the business doesn't have any kind of foundation. There is no business model, there is no product, there is no staff, there is no team. It's just you and a concept and a co-founder if you're lucky. That situation has to fester, has to grow, has to evolve into something. And the only way we are able to do that is if the founder appreciates that they're starting with nothing. They're starting with the dream, with the hope, with the idea, with the concept. If they acknowledge that that is where they're starting, the first thing that they have to accept is I'm building. I'm building with nothing. I have to be a builder. I have to lay down the groundwork. I have to tell this vision. I have to write out the concept for the product, why they need this, who the customer should be, the validation for that, how the brand should go. They have to be the founding pillar. Now, you see it in a lot of startups all the time. After the company is up and running and the money starts to slow down or the growth starts to slow down, and they cannot, that initial entrepreneur or that initial founder cannot progress the company forward, what happens is the investors want to replace them, or they just step down and hire somebody else because they realize they took it as far as they can go. Or they may even say, I'm ready to move on to another project anyway. I still have ownership, but I want to build something else. So that is the concept that I'm trying to tell you, that in the beginning stages, there is nothing. So if you are starting your own business, you have to understand, are you a builder or are you a grower or are you a sustainer? Because there's people that can come in and grow a business. They can say, well, I can't establish something from nothing, but if you give me something that is already functioning, already working, I can examine the model that you have. I can examine the marketing strategy. I can examine the branding strategy, and I can come in and say, let's rebrand this company. Let's execute like this. Let's go at these people. They have the ability to analyze the data and look at the strategy and rearrange the strategy to make the company continue that growth process. Then there's the people that sustain it. Somebody said, well, what's a sustainer? A sustainer is a person that, look, I'm just going to manage it. I'm just going to hold it together. I'm going to keep us at a moderate growth process. We may 1% grow, or we may be stabilized, but we don't retrogress. We have a slow or small progress, or we just stay standing still at holding a moderate part of the market, holding moderate sales. These are the things that they have different types of people and they have different capabilities. So you and I must know who we are as we embark on a challenge of having a startup. Because if we dive into a startup and we need to be at the beginning stages of building, but we don't know how to build, it's going to be hard to build a startup. If you dive into the business at the stage of sustaining, but this company needs to grow, then you'll get fired and replaced. You really want to consciously be aware of who you are so you can know what position. Do you need to be the CEO because you're the founder? Every founder don't have to be a CEO, just like every CEO don't have to be a founder. So that is a concept that we must come to realize. What position will we play? And again, at the beginning stages of a startup, if you're not the builder or the foundation layer, then I strongly recommend you leave that responsibility to either the co-founder or hire somebody else and bring them in to be the strategic thinker and the hard worker to design that company inside and out so you can build it so it can last. I want to also throw this in there. When I talk about starting with nothing, I want you to understand that I'm not talking about the product. As an entrepreneur, can you take nothing and build something? But I'm talking about the company and not the product. Again, because a lot of times people get a great idea for a product or have a vision for what they want to accomplish with the product, but they do not think about the company. They do not think about the marketing, the advertisement, the sales process, the product development team. They do not think about, they just think about the concept and how great the concept is, and the whole world is going to love the concept, but it just don't work that way. They don't think about customer development processes, business development. They don't think about the human resources or the hiring processes and all of those things that go into building a company and growing a company and expanding a company. So when I say, can you take nothing and build something, I'm more so focused on the company as a whole. Somebody may be thinking, well, why not the product? Again, I told you the product is inside of the company. So if you build the company, the product gonna get covered. But if you build just the product, in theory, you're forgetting about the company. And you are the CEO of a company and not a product. That is that's maybe like a project manager or a product manager, but you are the CEO over the product manager or the product manager, the project manager or the product manager, just depending on how you have your company set up. But I'm trying to say that to express we want to be not narrow focused, but we want to be broad focused when we're thinking about a company. And you got to be able to take nothing and build something, but we got to encompass it all. So that's the focal point that we have to have as an entrepreneur. Otherwise, we're not going to get to where we're trying to go to because we're thinking about the product and not the company as a whole. Now, when we start a startup, one of the biggest things I have to ask people, can you separate your idea from your reality? Why am I saying separate your idea from your reality? Because your idea may seem like it's this big and everybody will love it, but in reality, the consumer don't even understand it. In reality, the people don't understand why they should invest in that. When people sit down and talk with you and say, hey, look, I don't get your idea, I don't get your concept, I don't see why that makes sense, where that makes a difference. Being dogmatic to say, well, this is just what I believe and what I see, and this is gonna work, doesn't necessarily work in your best interest or in your favor, because a lot of times when people can't see the vision, can't see what you're saying, it's not the fact that it's not a good idea always. Sometimes it may be the expression of it. And if you're not able to oratorily express your vision or your idea, you may have cloudiness or confusion. Or maybe you did not sit down and think about your idea well enough to write out the expression of it. But I'm still trying to say, can you separate the reality from the idea? Sometimes people are sometimes people are stubborn in their approach to that idea. They don't want to change anything. The market may be telling you, well, that's not what we want. We want X. We want to add this to it. We want to change it this way. We want to develop it this way. Can you separate your idea, your baby, your dream, your concept from reality of what people actually want? Because if you can, that will help you iterate or pivot or make those changes that is appropriate to gain attraction in the market that you need. But if you are stubborn, hard-headed, and cannot separate the idea from the reality, then you're going to go down a one-way track straight to bankruptcy and out of business, no investors, failure, burnout, a whole lot of other problems. We must be able to be flexible with the concept and say, this is my idea, but if it needs to change, I'm willing to change. But if we're not willing to do that, then more than likely the company or the product that we're going to create is going to implode on itself. So another thing I want to talk about is when I talk about flexibility, can we be flexible in the approach to doing business? A lot of times we're sitting back and we're thinking about entrepreneurship and we're not really conscious of the fact that our approach may be off. The approach to achieve something may be the wrong approach. What I'm talking about an approach. Somebody may be saying, well, I think that you should go with social media. The next person say, I think you should go with an AdWords campaign. Sometimes the approach that you're pursuing to achieve your success may be the wrong approach. Can you be corrected? Can you be flexible in saying, well, you know what? I believe that I should go with social media, but the customers is telling me they usually Google their results. They usually Google their answers. My staff is telling me to go with this, so I'm going to go with something different. Can you be flexible? If the investors are telling you don't do it this way, go about it that way, you should try it X, Y, and Z. Are you willing to bend? Are you willing to pivot? Are you willing to change in the approach to achieve success? If we are not willing to change the approach, if we are not willing to change the concept and the idea, that rejection, that stubbornness can put you in a position where you will not become successful because People will replace you if they have money invested into your company and they can't get you to move the company in the direction they believe it should go to, and you don't own the majority of the percentage of the company. You can almost hang it up. You're going to be replaced. Some people are going to replace you just because you are inexperienced and they're trying to grow the company fast. Now, let me say why I say grow the company fast, because a lot of us not fully aware that startups are designed to grow fast. We're coming out to a global market, and the global market, and I'll talk about this later in some other time, it won't be like this forever. Once technology allows people to code faster, build apps faster, use plugins to get certain features done faster, the faster people can build a application, the less time it takes, the less money it takes, the more competitive the market gets, because it's an influx of people. And the more that there are people in the market, the more the market is segmented and divided into fractions, the more people will be able to take a slice of the pie. So the pie won't be $100 billion for one individual company. It will reduce itself and reduce itself and reduce itself. So now is the time to seize the market at this present time. So investors truly want you to have a big, large market that you can attack, that is hardly contested, so they can invest lots of money and they can grow and they can grow and they can grow. Most startups are focused on growth and not profitability in the beginning stages, because they want to dominate the market. If they could take a variety of market share before the market expand with competitors, then they'll be the lead character, like a Facebook, like an Apple, like a Microsoft, like a Google. Those people have dominated that space, and it's hard to catch them once they have generated so much growth, so much awareness, and so many billions of dollars. They have a lot of market share and they have a lot of money to back it up with. So why am I saying all of those things? Because the people will remove you and push you out the way if you are not flexible in your understanding and in your approach to what the customers need and how the investors want to make their money back, how the staff and the team and the co-founders want to make their money. So with that said, are you flexible in your approach to achieving success? Or are you one-dimensional, one way? You got to know who you are. Are you willing to be coached? Are you willing to be molded, especially if you are inexperienced? If you are inexperienced and are not willing to become flexible, that is going to be problematic for you and I as we are building our startup. So let's think about that, making sure we remain coachable, teachable, flexible in our approach, in our ideas, and in our concepts. Now, this is a tough one that I'm going to talk about too. Are you a leader or do you need to be led? That is crucial. Everybody who has a great concept wants to be the CEO because it's Instagram sexy, because it's Facebook sexy to say I own my own company. I'm the visionary, I'm the leader, I'm the entrepreneur. A lot of us want to own it just because we think you should own a business. If you have a concept, if you have artistic talent, I can code, I can create an app, so I should be the CEO. Are you a leader or do you need to be led? That is really, I probably should do a whole video on that, because the concept basically revolves around, do you have the knowledge? Do you have the information? Can you motivate? Can you inspire? Are you quick on your feet? Are you quick-witted? We call that smart. Are you smart? Are you intelligent? Are you able to take information in, analyze it, and spit out answers? Are you able to talk and present and explain and teach and mold and guide? Can you provide these things as an individual? Are you a natural born leader or are you a follower? How are you approaching your startup? Because if you do not know where you're going and you're looking to them, I'm telling you, you can get help. You're always supposed to have a cabinet of people who's smarter than you in a certain aspect. So you are able to take the information from the marketing, from the branding, from the sales, from the operations. You're supposed to be able to take that information from these people, dissect it, and come up with a strategic plan that's going to hit, that's going to work in every aspect. Public relations or internal culture building and things of that nature. You're supposed to be able to get that information and derive a plan that works. So it's very important to understand, do you have enough information to lead people to success, or will your information, or will you as a person lead people to failure? CEO means Chief Executive Officer. Everybody's not a chief. And that's something that you're going to have to decide for yourself. Are you the person that should be leading other people? Should you be calling shots and giving directions, or should you be a founder? Should you be on the sideline and a investor, somebody who is just there to give their opinion, but are you the right person for the job to lead the team? Especially, I'm gonna tell you another problem. People who don't, you can really tell people who are leaders and builders because they do a lot of work. They get in there and they get their hands dirty and they build stuff and they strategize and they work day and night on these stuff. People who are not builders and not leaders, they go to a lot of meetings. They sit around, they have a lot of meetings, they talk a lot of, talk, but they don't build nothing, they don't do anything. Their meetings are pointless. They have meetings that have no conclusion. The next time they come to a meeting, they don't follow up on the information from the last meeting to see how successful things are because they don't understand what they're doing. They're just sitting around talking and wasting time and letting the people manage themselves, letting the people run their own positions without responsibilities, accountabilities. They don't have it. There's no checks and balances because the leader don't know how to lead, don't know what we should be doing. They don't have an overall strategy, an overall goal, an overall target to say, this is what we're going to achieve, and I'm going to hold people accountable, and I'm going to give direction, I'm going to give encouragement, inspiration, I'm going to motivate, I'm going to hire the right people, train the right people. They just don't have what it takes to be that position. They looking to hire other people with skill sets so those people can do it. But when you lead without accountability and responsibility, then the people typically will take your check and not perform at the greatest height of their skill sets because they realize no matter if I clean my room as a child, if my mama don't check it, I'm gonna stuff shit under the bed, I'm gonna stick shit in the closet, and I'm really not gonna clean it thoroughly because mama not gonna check it anyway. So that's the mentality that happens, and it's not because the people are bad people. They realize the leader is lackadaisical and don't know what they're doing, and they got a lot of startup money, and so they cutting checks, and they're just gonna take a check. And when your startup burned out, they'll be on to the next startup. When we start in a startup entrepreneurship, sometimes in the first couple of weeks, months, in the early stages, it's lonely. You may have a co-founder, a partner, even a best friend that want to help you, but for the most part, startups don't have anybody there. And I'm saying that because some people have a human nature to need people. So you got to ask yourself, do you want to start a business that for weeks, months, or even a year or two, you could be with nobody or just one or two people? Do you need community? Do you need to show up to a building? In this digital age or this digital tech, everything that we're building is intangible. It's online. So there is no real office that you have to show up to. You may be working out of Starbucks. You may be working out of a local coffee house or a co-working space, and you do not have actual real friends and associates and stuff as you are building, trying to get funded, trying to be able to build a team or grow the company. So those things, and when I say funded, again, we're at the beginning stages of a startup. We're talking about pre-seed. We're talking about families, friends, and crowdfunding. We're talking about just a small investment to build the app. We're not even talking about the large investment yet to try to go on and say this is seed capital that we're trying to raise. We're not even there yet. So we're just talking about the beginning stages of a startup. We haven't built the team, the company, or anything. This is all pre. This is the exact beginning. When I say the beginning, I'm talking about thoughts become things and they're not things yet. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to express that to say, what type of person are you? Do you need people? Because if you need people, you're going to be lonely. It's going to be a rough ride. You have to understand who you are or put yourself in a position that you can be around the type of people that's in your industry, that's in your market, that does similar to what you do. But you got to understand what type of entrepreneur you are, because entrepreneurs don't necessarily fail because the idea was bad or because they ran out of money all the time. Sometimes they run out of sheer will. They run out of the ability to carry the burden all the way through. And I gotta let you know this. I'm gonna say these things because who cares how long the video is? I'm gonna say these things to tell you, it's all right to pause for a minute. It's all right to stop and cry and take a time because you are going through hell and adversity in your business. Something that you believe in, something you want to accomplish, but you can't get the help. You can't get the people. It's always a lot of work. You're stressed out. You got too much going on in your head. You don't have nobody to share with. Nobody understands your pain, your struggle, or your vision of where you're trying to go to. Sometimes those happen. It is all right to stop and cry for a second. It is all right to have a sad day. But I'm saying pause. I'm sorry. It's all right to pause, but we don't want you to stop and quit. We want you to keep going. That's why we make videos like this. We make these videos so you can understand what happens. Business Insight. If you never heard of my channel, my podcast, it's mobile app Business Insight. Go to that and support that site. It'll give you more insight and more business structure. If you need a startup guide, I also have that startup guide. I strongly recommend you get that startup guide. In that way, it puts you in the right positions so you can progress your company. Download it. It's free. 4 steps is accompanied by videos, but make sure you get that. So I just want to say that to say, do you need community? Do you need to be around people? Do you need to be involved? Do you need to have, folks around you? Because if you do and you do not have that in the beginning stages of your startup, that can cripple you. That can change your philosophy, your mindset, your emotions. Those things can change and it can be paramount to your success. So we want to talk about those things. What kind of entrepreneur are you? We're really trying to define that before we define the company, the product, and all the other things. Yes, we deal with problems. Yes, we deal with product. Yes, we deal with people. Yes, we deal with processes. But we can't even get to that if we haven't gotten past you, because the business emanates from you. You are the extension of the business. Everything stems from you. If you do not fix you first or understand you, it's going to be hard to build a business. It's going to be hard. An investor telling you to go one way and you like, that's not my approach. That's not how I think. That's not how I rock. Because you teamed up with the wrong investors. You got with the wrong team members. You got with the wrong developers. You got with all the wrong people because you didn't know you. It's like a relationship. All this is a relationship, and that's why I'm trying to express it. I try to give you information from the inside of the belly of the beast, because you have to think about it like a marriage. When you get a product development company, if you don't develop it yourself, you have to be married to those people for a certain time frame to bring forth that product or that baby or that child. And that relationship that you intertwine in, if they build it wrong or if they don't build it the right way, if you don't have the right relationship or you don't have the right vision, so many things can destroy that marriage. So many things can destroy the marriage with the investors. So many things can destroy the marriage with the team and the co-founders and all the other people that you bring into the fold, because you really didn't align. You need somebody that complements you as you are building the company and building the process. So I'm going to go on to something else because I'm getting too deep. So what type of entrepreneur are you? Now, there's a difference. This is a difference. Now, you have to think about your entrepreneurship in a type, and then there's going to be an approach, and we'll talk about that later. So the first thing is, as a person, are you a perfectionist? Now, I said, what type of entrepreneur are you? Are you a perfectionist? They got those people that want to make sure everything is perfect before they execute, before they launch. And that's never going to be the case. In a startup business, we try to believe, especially if you follow lean startup practices, you want to have small increments that you put out there so you can make iterations. So you put out something, you test it, and you change it. If you see it's the wrong way or if it's the right way, you could build on top of that. And we keep on making small steps. So being a perfectionist is not necessarily needed, but some people just naturally are perfectionists. Or you a giver. That type of person is somebody who's always trying to give and reward because they want to provide certain things because they want to be needed, they want to be loved, they want to be appreciated, they want people to find value in them. There's certain characteristics of that involved in the process, and sometimes that could be a good thing and sometimes that could be a bad thing. But you gotta know what type of person you are as an entrepreneur as you try to drive your business forward. Are you a performer? Now, some performers, somebody say, what's a performer? That person might love being in the spotlight. They like to do all the media. They want to be in the VIP. They want to be on the stage. They want to go to all the events wearing their stuff, and they want to just show off. They want the spotlight. Look at me, look at me. I talk to everybody. I stunt, I floss, I do all of that. There's a different type of character that motivates that person. That person is more driven for the spotlight. That's not always a bad thing, not always a good thing. It's just the type of person you are. And if you know that's the type of person you are. You may want to build around your character. Maybe PR is your thing, so you could be the face of the brand. You could get out there. Maybe you should not be the CEO of the brand. Maybe you should be the spokesperson for the brand. I don't know. I'm just saying, consider who you are and who you truly are, and embrace who you truly are. Acknowledge it and embrace it, because you can build a better what? A better approach to doing business. So that is the entrepreneur's, I'm saying, classify and understand who you are as the entrepreneur type, and then you can build a better approach, right? Let me talk about this one at the same time. We have the romantic. Somebody said, well, what's the romantic? Because I met people like this in small business and in tech business. The romantic is in love with the artistry, in love with the art form. They're romanticizing about creating the greatest product of all times. When the customer don't give two shits about the art of it, they don't give two shits. They give a shit about the problem that it solved, the need that it solved, the void that it fixed, or the void that it fills. That is what the consumer who's spending the money is the one that we should be focused on. But there is the romantic that wants to, romanticize about developing the best product. Is that a bad thing? Not all the time. It just depends on who you are and the approach, but you have to make it work for who you are. You have to make the approach work in a team work. So that's why I'm strongly trying to talk about it. In this video, I really wasn't trying to talk about team building, but it's kind of synonymous. I'm really trying to talk about entrepreneurship building, entrepreneur building, because the approach that you step to, somebody said, well, what's the approach? I talked about in the beginning, are you a builder? A builder is somebody that's going to see an opportunity, create a company, roll their sleeves up, get down in the mud, and build until it gets to a certain level, a certain plateau, and they're going to say, all right, I'm done with this. I'm going on to another venture. That person has just got the entrepreneur mindset. Build companies, sell companies, flip companies, move on. Build companies, sell companies, flip them, grow them, whatever, move forward. That person is a builder. That is their approach to entrepreneurship, is like, let's get it from the mud. Let's take it from nothing and build it into something. That person is not the person that's going to go and buy a company that already exists. That person is going to probably be the one that's going to start from scratch, more than likely. They're not going to try to rebuild your company. They're not going to try to grow your company. They're going to try to build a company. You know what I'm saying? That's their approach. Like, nah, I don't want to go and get an old dilapidated house and fix it up. I build houses from ground up. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different approach to how they want to do entrepreneurship. But then you have some do-gooders in the world. They got those do-gooders, those people who I talk about change. They want to change the world. They want to see everybody do good. They want to make something better. They want to solve a problem. They have empathy. They have so many different reasons. And I'm just saying an approach. Again, none of these things are said in a negative way. I'm just trying to express that there's a different way. Every entrepreneur has a different way. There's the artist. The artist believe in the art form first. I'm an artist. I talked about the romanticism, and it got that. So the romanticism is a type of entrepreneur, but that approach is an artist approach that I'm just going to focus on artistry, right? I'm an artist first. I create beautiful apps. I create beautiful products, beautiful whatever the case may be, and they more so focused on the art form, and they less so focused on the customers, the team, the staff, anything else. They believe in themselves more than they believe in anything else that's with the company. They believe that if they don't build the best application or the best, digital product, that nobody's going to buy shit because it's not built the best like they would build, their art form. When I always try to say, and it's not negative that you're a great artist or you're romantic or you're a do-gooder, none of those things are negative, but we always want to focus on business as customer centric. We have to focus on the customer, whatever they need. Now, if your approach fits what they need, then it's match made in heaven. But if you don't have product market fit, then it's time to pivot. And if you're not willing to pivot, then oh hell, you're gonna be asked out, because that's the way business goes, right? So last but not least, let's talk about a visionary. Now, a visionary is somebody who can see the future, understands where the product should go, where the company should go, understands it to the point where they're able to write it out and say, this is what I want to do, this is where we are, this is where we will be, this is the time that we will get there, this is my overall goal, this is the vision that I want to bring forth to people. That visionary is somebody who actually has an action plan behind the concept that they have for the company and the product, or the company and as a whole with the product. That person is a visionary. They understand what the market needs, when it needs it, and how they will bring it to the market and actually get it out there to expand and grow and sell it. That person is a visionary leader, right? That person may be innovative. They may have the concepts to redevelop something and change something and show how they're going to disrupt the market, change the market, grow, make billions of dollars. That individual is the visionary, right? But the key ingredient to being a visionary, can you do this? Can you express your vision? Can you tell that story to where it draws men unto you to say, this is what I'm trying to achieve? Do you know how to speak the vision to the right people? Understanding who will be receptive to the message, who will embrace the message, and being able to express the message where they can receive it and embrace it. Those are two big things. Somebody say, well, what do you talk about? Because a lot of times people are like, man, I talked to 50 VCs and I didn't get funded. You talk to the wrong VCs. Those people don't deal in your industry. They don't deal in that market. They don't like your approach. This person is about money. That person is about change. You sound like you're too much about money for a person that's trying to do good with their money. That person over there is too much about change when that person is over here trying to make money. This person don't believe in the tech industry. This person more into food and beverage. They both got money, but it doesn't matter because they have to have the money and willing to put it behind a product and behind an entrepreneur. Most of the times the businesses don't get funded, not because the concept isn't good. It doesn't get funded because they don't like the entrepreneur. They don't like the person in charge of it. They don't like the co-founders. They don't like the people that's asking for their money. So they say, guess what? I'm not going to give it to you. So how can you take the vision, simplify your vision, and express it to the right people? Because even in the idea of team building and investor gaining, if I could say that, there still have to be vision, market, fit. They still have to fit together. So are you a visionary? Are you the right person to express it? Now somebody say, why are you saying that? Because as a founder, I do not believe you should, not co-founder, as the founder, the visionary, the person with the idea, I do not believe you should let somebody else tell your vision. Not in the beginning. They should not be telling your vision until you told them your vision. Your team could tell your vision, not for you, but they're going to tell your vision in support of you. It should be, I had the vision, I expressed the vision so much and so simply that my team gets it, so my team can represent in support of me. But they shouldn't say, well, you don't know how to talk. Well, you don't know how to tell it. Well, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about or doing. I'm going to tell you vision. They're not the founder. The founder is the visionary. The founder has the vision. The founder, the person who founded the company, should have found the solution, should have found the problem, should have found the answers, and should be able to give a foundation and explain their vision. That is the visionary. Are you the visionary, and can you express it? And if not, that is some things we need to work on. Again, if you do not have the startup guide, go and download the startup guide. It is complimentary. It is free. It is an opportunity to find the 4 stages that you need to go through step by step to progress the beginning stages of your startup. Or if you're restarting a business, if you're trying to start a business over because you believe that you may have accidentally done it the wrong way, purposely done it the wrong way. If you feel that you have made a mistake and you want to know the progressive ways to go, get that 4-stage startup guide. It is the link probably on the top of the screen, bottom of the screen. Check down there in the description. Share this video out. Sharing is caring. If you want to subscribe to my channel, I would love that. I appreciate that. We can always stay in touch. But there is processes and ways to building a startup business or building any business. And you and I must know who we are before we try to build something that comes from us, because we don't want conflict and enmity as much as possible within the company or within the organization or the investments or the investors. We want to try to build something that is cohesive and simple to govern, simple to operate. And nothing is ever easy, but when I say simple, it's just not filled with unnecessary complications. So my name is Cash Parrish. I help the startup appreneur build the company behind the app, support my podcast, support my YouTube channel, and get the 4-stage startup guide. I hope to see you on the other side of success. Till we broadcast again, y'all stay cool, be blessed, and be